and beauty ever be. Thy strength, our strength, and pride forever. Old Monmouth, hail to thee.
I invite you to join me in a word of prayer. Eternal God, may our hearts leap and our minds rejoice at the coming of this great day. Open us to the joy of this moment, Holy God. Remind us of how far these graduates have come. Help us to see, know, and feel the presence of family, friends, and loved ones gathered. And awaken us to gratitude, because the exams have been taken, the grades have been turned in, and the degrees are ready to be conferred. Mark this moment, Holy God, with a depth of meaning that matches the hard work these graduates have put in, and bless this ceremony, that it be a memorable sending worthy of the journey itself. Amen.
Please be seated. Thank you, Reverend Ott, for your invocation, and thanks, as always, to the Monmouth Chorale for that beautiful rendition of our alma mater. Good afternoon to all of you on this day of celebration. We are delighted that you can be with us as we all participate together in the 160th commencement exercises of the Monmouth College. I would like to introduce our special platform guests, starting from my far left. There is Reverend Terry McDowell Ott, our college chaplain. To Reverend Ott's right is Ms. Emma Vanderpool, the Lincoln Laureate for the class of 2017. Next then is Dr. David Timmerman, Dean of the Faculty. To his right is our honored guest and commencement speaker, Mr. Juan Sepúlveda. To his right, Ms. Christine Johnston, Special Assistant to the President and Director of Institutional Research and Analytics. I now want to recognize the members of our College Board of Trustees who are in attendance today. These dedicated men and women, many of them alumni of the college, provide critical leadership for this institution. I hope that some of today's graduates, at least some, have service as a trustee of Monmouth College among their many ambitions. Would our trustees please stand and be recognized? I also extend a warm greeting to Monmouth's faculty and staff. At Monmouth College, no matter what our other titles may be, we are all educators, dedicated to the guided growth of young people. Through their dedication and passion, these people have helped our students to free the possibilities inherent in their lives. Would all of you, our faculty and staff, please stand and be recognized? Many people are responsible for today's celebration. I want to thank just a few at this moment. First off, suppose I should thank Reverend Ott for this beautiful weather. Certainly she has more pull than I do regarding that. Our facilities staff, who has been working for the last several days, and especially yesterday and today, to turn this plaza into a wonderful place of joy and celebration. And while she has many helpers, many helpers, Associate Dean of Students Karen Ogerzalik is the maestra of this event. So let us thank Karen as well. As always, I want to thank and recognize my wife, Lobie Stone, for all that she does for the college, and especially for freeing whatever possibilities are in my life. Lobie? And next, a special welcome to the very important people for whom today represents the culmination of 4 years of dedication, study, hard work, and the beginning of new, exciting chapters in their sagas. Members of the class of 2017, please stand and be recognized. And finally, a warm welcome to the mothers, and today especially the moms, and fathers, husbands and wives, sisters and brothers, sons and daughters, grandparents, aunts, uncles, and friends of our 2017 graduates who are here today to celebrate this special event with them and with us. We welcome all of you, and we thank you for being here to celebrate the achievements of the class of 2017. If I could ask all those family members and friends of our graduates to please stand and let us thank them as well. It is traditional at our commencement exercises to recognize members of the faculty who have received promotions this year. These promotions were recently approved by the Monmouth College Board of Trustees, and let me name some of these now. Tim Gaster in our Department of Modern Languages is granted a tenured position and is promoted from assistant professor to associate professor. Ashwani Kumar, Department of Physics, is granted a tenured position and is promoted from assistant professor to associate professor. Connie Mersch in our Department of Accounting is granted a tenured position and is promoted from assistant professor to associate professor. Sean Shum in the Department of Kinesiology is granted a tenured position and is promoted from assistant professor to associate professor. And 2 promotions to full professor. First, Brian Baugh in our Department of Art has been promoted to full professor. And Marcia Dopheide in the Department of Psychology, also promoted to full professor. The thread that runs through the history of Monmouth College is indeed our dedicated faculty and staff. This year we celebrate 4 members of our faculty and 2 members of the staff who are retiring. The 4 faculty members are, if you'll hold your applause to recognize all 4 together, are James Betts, Lee McGann, Iris Malinsky, and William Wallace, who will officially retire effective this August after 28, 31, 33, and 37 years of service to the college respectively. During that time, and still, they have embodied the best of Monmouth College. And I ask that the 4 of them, Jim, Lee, Ira, and Bill, if you would please stand and let us thank you. We also celebrate the retirement of 2 exceptional staff members. David Fisher, who is here working his final commencement, has served as lead custodian for the Huff Athletic Center almost since the building's opening and has given both the facility and the students who use it every day great care and attention. David, please make yourself known wherever you are. And finally, we recognize Jackie Condon, who joined the college's student life staff in 1980 and who served as Dean of Students for 27 years. Thousands of students, and not a few faculty and staff, have benefited from Jackie's integrity, compassion, honesty, and wisdom. We will find a successor, but no one will ever replace her. Jackie, if you are here, if you would please stand. There she is. As your program indicates, there will be 2 commencement addresses this afternoon, and the first one will be presented by our student laureate from the Lincoln Academy of Illinois, Emma Vanderpool. Unique among the 50 states, the Academy was established to honor Illinois' most distinguished citizens with the state's highest award, the Order of Lincoln. Each year, an outstanding senior who exhibits overall excellence in curricular and extracurricular programs is selected from each of the 4-year degree-granting institutions of higher learning in Illinois. Emma Vanderpool has indeed exhibited such excellence. I now invite Emma to deliver her commencement address.
Thank you, President Wyatt, for that kind introduction. Fellow graduates of the class of 2017, faculty, administrators, staff, family, and friends. Solwete! Askaikairate! Well, hello and welcome. Never fear. Despite the urging of some of my mentors, I will not be delivering my speech in Latin, or in ancient Greek for that matter. It feels like only yesterday, right, that we walked this very same path in front of Wallace Hall under the blazing summer sun for our matriculation ceremony, and then for our first classes. In my ILA course, I really enjoyed Jonathan Gottschall's book, The Storytelling Animal. With much regret, I will have to pass over Botany of Desire. Now, my main takeaway from Gottschall's book, at least, was that we, as humans, are wired for stories. We are wired to be storytellers. More than that, however, the stories that we tell ourselves and the stories that we tell others are deeply important. For these stories shape not only who we are, but they shape the world that we live in. And it is our privilege and our obligation to be good, genuine crafters of our stories, and to be good, critical listeners of the stories of others. If we think about the stories that we tell ourselves and tell our friends, there are, of course, 2 main factors: the characters and the plot. Perhaps driven by our early English courses, our plots often follow that familiar, simple format. Beginning with an exposition, we build through the rising action to some grand climax. Then we trail down through the falling action to the conclusion, where everything is neatly packaged and tied up for our audience. And there's the protagonist, often you, with a slew of Ron Weasley and Hermione Granger-esque sidekicks, perhaps a Neville Longbottom thrown in for good measure, perhaps with a kind Remus Lupin or a wise Albus Dumbledore as well. And then there's the antagonist, the Draco Malfoy or the Dolores Umbridge, the one who's the cause of your frustration and your strife. Perhaps it's the students who live down the hall and who are always and unfailingly loud just when you're about to go to sleep. Perhaps it's the professor who just seems out to get you or doesn't quite seem to get you. Perhaps it's your boss who doesn't quite value your work as much as you would wish. And in the end, with these basic elements, we craft convincing and compelling fictions for ourselves and for our friends. But that's only our story. For that very same event, we often discount the stories of the Ron Weasley, of the Draco Malfoy. And admittedly, this sort of linear perspective makes for what seems to be the best story, or at least the fastest story. Yet the people that we are relegating into certain roles are the protagonists of their own stories, the antagonists of another's. As Walt Whitman famously wrote in his poem, Song of Myself, "Do I contradict myself? Very well then, I contradict myself. I am large, I contain multitudes." While it is easy to recognize the multitudes that one personally has and to downplay the multitudes of our friends, our mentors, our acquaintances, and yes, even those that aren't really our friends, we've been given the tools here at Monmouth College to embrace these contradictions. By living on a small liberal arts college campus, we have come into contact with people with great variety in their stories. We have repeatedly come into contact with the same people, even when we'd rather not. Yet it can still be difficult to avoid sorting people into neat little categories in our minds and to instead come to grips with the increasingly complex narrative. It can be difficult because to see that reality is hard. It is hard to imagine others as complexly as we imagine ourselves. By shifting the perspective in our stories, we can begin to not only see people's virtues, but their faults. We can begin to not only see their faults, but their virtues. And by doing so, we can gain a greater sense of not only who they are, but in turn, a sense of who we are as fellow humans. And the conclusion there is quite simply that we are all terribly flawed human beings. And yet, I cannot help but find a beauty in these flaws and in this humanity. Now, don't get me wrong. Right? I'm not saying that the mistakes that people can make aren't frustrating, or that their unkind actions and words aren't hard to swallow. But there are moments when we could just give up on each other. And there are moments when others could have just given up on us. But instead, there can be a kind of beauty when we choose to love them. And I mean truly love them, not in spite of their contradictions and their multitudes, but because of their contradictions and their multitudes. The motto here at Monmouth College, as seen on the flag behind me, is Sit Lux, let there be light. Thought you'd escape with only that small bit of Latin at the beginning, did you? Had to slip some more in. As an institution founded upon a Presbyterian heritage, this motto originates from a Hebrew text, Genesis chapter 1, verse 3. For on the first day, God said, let there be light, and there was light. And there can be that kind of light, that kind of novelty and knowledge, through not just the acceptance of others' multitudes, but the warm embrace of them. And in turn, there can be the joy and the sense of peace that comes from having our own multitudes embraced by others. We have the opportunity and the privilege to offer some of our own light to a world that can often seem dark and confused, to a world that's often given to an either-or dichotomy. And it's through the stories that we tell. As graduates of the class of 2017, we have great stories to tell. So let them contain multitudes. Godspeed.
President Wyatt, it is my distinct privilege and high honor to present Juan Sepúlveda for the honorary degree Doctor of Humane Letters. In every respect of a varied career, Mr. Sepúlveda has demonstrated and advanced the power of education to achieve greater community and understanding. He knows from his own life the value of transformative education. He graduated from Harvard College with a BA in government and was also the third Latino to win a Rhodes Scholarship. At Oxford, he earned another bachelor's degree in politics, philosophy, and economics. He later earned his JD degree from the Stanford University Law School. The Senior Vice President for System Leadership of the Public Broadcasting System since 2014, Mr. Sepúlveda began his career in public media at KLRN, the PBS affiliate in San Antonio. There he created a variety of initiatives to engage the local community through the medium of television. For example, designing and leading the station's Community Advisory Board and hosting Conversations, a locally produced show that brought together perspectives from across San Antonio and the state of Texas. This theme of education in service to greater understanding continued during his service as Executive Director of the White House Initiative on Educational Excellence for Hispanics, which facilitated community action summits across the country to create public-private partnerships to address challenges and opportunities at the local level. He also established the Common Enterprise, in which he took this same approach of community leadership and action to more than 35 states in settings ranging from rural areas in the Deep South, Appalachia, the Midwest, and Far West, to urban settings across the country. In his current position, Mr. Sepúlveda has returned to public television as an instrument for education and understanding, leading PBS's efforts to strengthen the independent member stations in their ability to be forces for positive thought and action in their local communities. For his demonstration of the power of education, for his advocacy of community service and leadership, and for his efforts to help us see our common humanity, I am pleased to present Juan Sepúlveda for the honorary degree Doctor of Humane Letters.
Juan Sepúlveda, whereas you have demonstrated in all aspects of your life a profound belief in the power of learning to achieve understanding of ourselves and others, and whereas you have sought, inspired, and achieved excellence in each chapter of a still young but already distinguished career, and whereas you have, through your leadership, empowered others to be forces for positive good in their communities, and whereas your life and work exemplify the highest values and greatest potential of the liberating power of the liberal arts and sciences, be it resolved by the Board of Trustees of the Monmouth College, with charter trustees and trustees in board assembled, that Juan Sepúlveda is awarded the honorary degree, Doctor of Humane Letters, with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereto appertaining. I am honored to present you with this diploma, and I ask that you be invested with the appropriate hood. Congratulations, Juan. And you ready?
President Wyatt, First Lady Stone, Dean Timmerman, Reverend Ott, members of the Monmouth Board of Trustees, faculty, administrators, staff, distinguished guests, and all the family members, thank you for inviting me to be part of the 160th Annual Commencement Exercises. And most importantly, congratulations to the Fighting Scots class of 2017. I also wanted to say a special congratulations to Emma for reminding us of the great stories that you all have to tell. And I also got a chance to see some of the remarks that you're going to be hearing later from Neri Angela, so I wanted to say congratulations to her as she's going to be sharing her story with you a little bit later. As I thought about what I wanted to share with you today, I asked myself, what matters? And the answer that came to mind was, and Emma and I did not talk about this ahead of time, our stories matter. Our individual stories, each one of you as graduates, is the stories that you have to tell, which combined becomes our stories of us, which also gives us clues and hints of the stories of who we can become. So what I want to do today is to share 4 sets of things that have mattered in my life, in my story, that I believe will matter to you as well in your own story as you graduate today. First, where we come from matters. Our many homes matter, your family home, your neighborhood and community home, and now your Monmouth College home. They all matter. And never forgetting where we come from and not forgetting all of our homes and being proud of all of our homes. My name is Juan Sepúlveda. I was born and raised in Topeka, Kansas, right? When you hear Juan Sepúlveda, Topeka, Kansas, it doesn't seem to kind of go together. My family came from the northern part of Mexico. Some people will joke that they grew up on the wrong side of the tracks. My family helped build the tracks and came up with the railroad through Texas, through San Antonio, up to the Midwest, and stopped in Topeka when an old railroad company called the Atchison, Topeka, and the Santa Fe decided to put up some railroad shops. In your classes, you probably studied a very famous case called Brown versus the Board of Education. That was my neighborhood. So on the east side of Topeka, you had the railroad shops, and on one side of the railroad shops was the segregated African-American community. On the other side was the segregated Mexican-American community. There weren't many Mexican-Americans in Topeka when I was growing up, but yet it wasn't until I was in high school that I was in school with somebody who wasn't Mexican because we were segregated on one side of town. But it was a kind of place where across the street from the shops was Our Lady of Guadalupe Church, and our school and our families. Everyone knew each other, which was great and bad because you couldn't get away with anything. Then they were all watching you, but we took care of each other. We were there for each other. It's almost a throwback to communities that we have forgotten. When I got here Friday night and arrived into Peoria, I knew I was back home. I was back in the Midwest. When I would go home to Topeka now, I fly into Kansas City, but once I get into Kansas City, I know I got another hour until I get to Topeka. You get to Peoria, you're in the car for another hour, you're there, and that's what you got to do. But I also saw all the families who were there to kind of meet their sons and daughters at the airport, and that's what it reminds me about when I was in Topeka growing up as well. And then I think about my college home, like Monmouth College, where almost everybody lived on campus. I had 6 roommates. There were 7 of us. We had some great parties, right? So it was an incredible thing. I lived in a place called Leverett House. So think about your own memories of your Monmouth College home. When I was here yesterday and got a chance to talk to folks, I looked at some of the videos and was just kind of learning about you guys, and I saw the freshmen walk out, and I first thought, wow, is that like a protest or something? No, y'all are kind of getting connected to the community, meeting the businesses, pork tenderloin someone was telling me about, your bacon fest, all these different pieces, a bronze turkey, right? One of my favorite was when I saw the alumni videos where at the end of the alumni video, it finished, and then one of the alumni just came on after the video was finished, and all he said was, and any time we beat Knox is a special time, right? So those kinds of pieces, the honor roll yesterday, to see you getting a chance to say thanks to the folks who are most important to you, that's what it's all about. And I know when I got to college and I was coming from the Midwest, it was a little bit different because I was meeting new folks for the first time, and I came out of a working class background. But I can remember for the first time being in one of those crazy conversations where you're up all night long talking to students. And I remember as we were getting at the end of the first year and people were getting ready to go, and people started talking about, well, my second home in the Cape and Martha's Vineyard, and someone had a house in Paris and everything. And it was all these wealthy kids who had just these unbelievable homes. And they kind of looked at me and they were kind of like, yeah, what about you? And I kind of thought about it for a second, and I'm sure this is probably true for a lot of you here because that's how we are in the Midwest. I thought, you know what? I have 3 homes as well, too. And they kind of looked at me and I said, yeah, there's like my house, there's my Uncle Rudy's house, there's my, you know where the keys are, your grandparents' house, and there's that closeness of who we are. Don't ever forget where you come from and be proud of all your homes. It matters. Number 2, not letting others define who you are matters. Jumping into the game, even when you have no clue how to play the game, matters. Taking risks matter. I was the first one to go to college in my family. How many of you were the first to go to college? Put your hands up. Anyone? And in the crowd, anyone of the first ones to go? Big round of applause for all the folks who were the first ones. President Wyatt knows this. He went through it with his sister and his brother. They were the first ones to go to high school. And one of my favorite quotes comes from Joseph Campbell, who studied myth. And he talks about jumping into the game and even when you have no clue to how to play the game. And he has this quote that says, a bit of advice that's given to a young Native American at the time of his initiation. As you go the way of life, you will see a great chasm. Jump. It's not as wide as you think. So I decided to jump. I was going to college some way, somehow, because my mom said I was going to go. And you know how it is in your senior year of high school where you have to go see the counselor? It's probably the first time you've had to go see the counselor, right? So I had to go do that my senior year. I'm not going to mention his name, right? Mr. Rohr, right? So I go in to see Mr. Rohr, and he asked me, so Juan, what are you going to do next year? So I said, I'm going to college, right? My family knew nothing about going to college. I'm going to college. I knew nothing about how this worked. And so those of you now, because there was a time, really, really long time, I'm not that old, I'm 54, a really, really long time ago, people didn't have cell phones or computers in their pockets that were cell phones or computers at your house. And so I started to get these letters from these universities. I'd never heard of these places, but I started to get them. So I show up to Mr. Rohr's office, I tell him I'm going to college, and I literally put on his desk a stack of envelopes, 3 stacks. One from a place called Harvard, a place called Yale, and a place called Brown. And people are like, why not Stanford, why not Princeton? And I was like, because they didn't send me as many letters, right? And I knew nothing how this worked. But you know how I knew those schools really wanted me? Because when I opened up the letter, it said, Dear Juan. They put my name in there, like they knew me, and I think this is, I didn't know there was a machine that did that. So I was like, these guys really kind of want me to go there. So I told them, that's where I want to go, that's where I'm going to apply. So Mr. Rohr kind of turned to me, and he said, Juan, you're one of our best students. You're doing a lot of work at the church. You're doing a lot of work in the community. I played a lot of sports. You're a really good runner. You're a great point guard. You're really good with your hands. He says, but you know, I'm not sure college is for you. There's some great jobs in your neighborhood, and there are, and there were some great jobs at the railroad, and people could take care of their family and really kind of get it done. He says, maybe you should think about that. Maybe you can go work at the shops where a lot of your family members did. I just listened to him, took it in, and I thought, I just can't let this stop me. I don't know how this works, but I went ahead and applied. Harvard, Yale, and Brown, those are the ones who sent me the most envelopes, and I was very lucky and got into all of them, right? Harvard needed a short Mexican-American point guard, right? So I mentioned that, and then, you know, you can't make this stuff up, right? Our lives, our stories are so incredible. So fast forward about 6 years later, after I finish college, and it's Christmas time, I'm back at home. I'm at a liquor store because it's time, all of our families, right? This is for my Uncle Rudy again. I know what he loves for Christmas. He wants a bottle of Patron tequila, right? So I'm at the liquor store to go get him his bottle of tequila for Christmas. And as I get in the line, you can't make this stuff up. I go down, I put the bottle of tequila, and I look up to the guy who's behind the cash register, and I say, hey, Mr. Rohr. He's working at the liquor store, right? And so he sees me and he says, Juan, hey, how are you? He says, I've heard all these great things. I told you you could do it. You Rhodes Scholar, the whole thing, right? You finished at Oxford. This is incredible. He said, so what are you going to do now? I said, I'm thinking of applying to law school, right? You know where this story's going. He said, where are you thinking of applying? I said, Harvard, Yale, Stanford, and Berkeley. He says, you know, you've done great. You're a Rhodes Scholar. You've done those kind of stuff. Those are really hard schools. I'm glad you're applying. I don't think you're going to get in. And that'll be $29.99. So I'd mention that to you. Don't ever let others define who you are, even those who think they're helping you out. Take risks. Jump. It's not as wide as you think. And number 3, learning the rules of the game matters. Learning how systems work matters. Asking for help matters. We got to make sure we give back. You got to keep the doors open for those who are coming behind you and sharing what you've learned along the way so they can join us as well. Once I finally got to college, I'm sure this never happened to any of you out here, any of the graduates for today, but I know I was one of them. I kept thinking, wow, when are they going to find out? They messed up the files. I actually have someone else's stuff, and at some point they're going to realize I shouldn't be there, right? I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to study. I knew how to work hard. I didn't know how the system worked. I didn't know how to kind of get it done. And I remember my freshman year, you had to meet with your advisors. My advisor, a guy named Jim Klein, and I remember going up to him, and I was like, oh, it was kind of pathetic, right? Oh, I don't know what I'm doing. I miss my high school girlfriend. I just want to go home, right? I wanted nothing to be there. I shouldn't be here. I'm not meant to be here. I don't know what I was thinking. And he slapped me around. He woke me up, and he saved me, and I asked him, well, help me. And he gave me some answers. He said, here's what you need to do. Don't take these classes right now because you want to take the ones you like, but you don't know what you're doing, so you'll get a B in them. That's not going to help you. Take these really hard classes that you don't want to take. You're not going to get great grades, but it's your freshman year. They'll forget about it. By the time you become a sophomore, junior, senior, your grades will be going up. You'll be able to apply for things, and you're going to win. Trust me, this is how it works. And it did. I learned how the system worked. I wasn't smarter than my classmates. I knew how to work hard, but I didn't know the system. I didn't know the rules of the game. But once I learned, I never looked back. And I realized sometimes the hardest thing to do is just to ask for help. I learned how to apply for a Rhodes Scholarship. I learned how to go to law school and apply. I learned how to write a biography. I hosted a TV show. I remember when the local public television station asked me if I wanted to host a show. I remember my wife saying to me, "You?" Right? You know, it's like, I knew nothing about it. What do you know about TV? I have one, right? And so, but I figured it out and I learned how to do that. I helped run a presidential campaign. I helped lead a White House office. But it was all about continuing to learn throughout your life and continuing to be opening to ask and to make sure that what you were learning, you were sharing with the folks behind you. I always love these speeches because it's a chance for me just to tell you stories about my family. And so let me tell you about sometimes with our families, we don't know the rules of the game. And so it's important for us to help even our family understand it. So let me tell you a story. It's just an excuse so I can tell you a story about my Uncle Ray, right? My Tío Ramón. To this day, it was my favorite graduation card that I ever received. It was this beautiful card where he said, "Mijo, my son, we are so proud of you. You're the first one to go to college in our family. I am so proud of you. I just want to tell you, congratulations on your graduation from the University of Hartford." He had no clue. Hartford, he didn't know. And so as I finished, as a good Midwestern family, as a good big Mexican-American family, it was time to celebrate. So we go in the backyard, right? We go out into the alley. This is right around the time where you guys know this from Bacon Fest, right? You got to go kill an animal, right? Get this dead animal. You put it on a spit, right? Get that pig going, right? You get some Mexican beers. You get some margaritas. You're just having a huge kind of party out in the backyard. You're having a great time, and we're celebrating that I just graduated from Harvard. My Uncle Ray sees me. He comes up to me. He knows I'm supposed to be a lawyer, right? I'm going to become a lawyer. So he comes up to me, and he says, "Mijo, so you're done?" "Yeah." He says, "So, are you a lawyer now?" And I'm about to explain to him how it works, right? No, you've got to go for another 3 years. You've got to go to graduate school. And before I start to explain it, he just cuts me off, turns to his buddies, and he says, I said, "No, mijo, no, Tío, I'm not a lawyer yet." I start to explain to him. He cuts me off, and he turns to his buddies. He says, "Yeah, that's okay, mijo." He says, "Yeah." And he turns to me and tells them, "Yeah, he was never that smart," right? So a few years go by. I'm a Rhodes Scholar, right? I'm studying politics, philosophy, economics. This is a big deal. We come back. You know what's going to happen. We're in the alley again. We're in the backyard. It's another party, another pig. Get them on the spit. Get the beers going. Get the margaritas going. I know what's going to happen. My uncle comes up to me again with his buddies, right? And he looks at me again, and he's like, "All right, mijo, that's great. Congratulations. Okay, I got to ask you one more time. So are you a lawyer now?" Right? You know this answer. "No, Tío, I'm not a lawyer." I'm about to explain to him again how this works. He kind of turns to his buddies. He says, Yeah, I told you. He's not that smart. You know what? He's not that smart. He's kind of dumb. They had to send him to another country, right? So I mentioned that because it's really about, in the end, about helping our families, helping everyone understand kind of what's going on. We have to figure out the rules of the game, the system, how it all works in order to kind of move ahead and take care of the folks coming behind us. The final thing, our relationships matter. Your friends matter. Your family matters. And today especially, our moms matter, right? And for me, especially Mexican moms really matter. And we know at the end that love matters the most. This is a chance for me to brag. I've got a couple of kids, 28 and 27. My son Michael is in Chicago. He graduated from DePaul. He's working in the president's office at the MacArthur Foundation. My daughter, Vicky, is going to graduate from Harvard Business School in a couple of weeks. She's going to go work for a guy named Jeff Bezos in Seattle at a place called Amazon. And she would be really mad if I didn't tell you all here today because of the special history you all have. She's a Kappa Gamma. Okay, right, they're going to, okay, all right. I had to put that on my daughter. I'm getting in trouble if I didn't. So proud of our kids. But I think about family. We're so proud of what they've done and where they're going. You go home and talk to my uncles, and what do they say? They're like, "Mijo, we're so proud of with the kids and what you did with them." All slightly different depending on where you are in the family. "We're so proud of you." Why? Well, no one's pregnant, no one's in jail. It's all different standards, right? It's all different standards. But we know that in the end, our family is always going to be there for us. I've got a younger brother, Gary, and unfortunately, he had a relationship that didn't work out in his marriage. And he got divorced. And I remember when he got together with us in the family to tell us, to let us know that he was getting divorced. And I thought, this is the beauty of family in the toughest of times, in the hardest moments that we have. And he came there in front of us and he said, "I have something to tell you guys. It just didn't work out, unfortunately. We tried, but it looks like we're getting a divorce." There was a silence for about a second. And then my mom, my cousins, we really never really liked her to be honest, you know. We're too crazy about it. They're always going to be there. Even in the toughest times, your family is going to step up for you because that's who they are. And they're going to keep you humble. I remember when I won the Rhodes Scholarship, it was such a proud moment. The city of Topeka, Kansas, right? Great small town in the Midwest. They gave me the key to the city. I remember it was live. It was on TV. We were having this big ceremony. And in the midst of the ceremony, live on camera, while the mayor is giving me the key to the city, my Uncle Rudy comes up, right? He comes up to the mayor and he said, "Thank you, Mayor Elizabeth. I have one question for you. What does this key open? Does it open any liquor stores? Is this, did you give, this is the key gonna, thanks, Uncle Rudy," right? And so they're gonna hold your thing, and you know this is gonna happen to you, and like, it's that moment when you can't change a tire, that moment when you can't put the table together from Walmart or something. That's when one of your uncles or your aunts or your cousins is gonna turn to you and say, "And he's a college graduate," right? So you know that's part of it, but at the same time, you're going to go down to his basement, to his bar, and you're going to see my Harvard basketball team picture right next to his homage to the Kansas City Chiefs and the KU Jayhawks and the Kansas City Royals. That's who our families are. And then there's our parents, right? My dad, it's my stepdad. I'll tell you a little bit about that story in a second, but my dad, I don't see him as my stepdad, drove me back and forth to school every year, from Topeka to Cambridge to Boston. When I was going to school in California, if there had been a highway over to England, he would have been driving me over because he had to take care of me. He had to move into me. I was unbelievably spoiled, but that's what our family, my dad figured it out that he had put in almost 400,000 miles driving me around the country to make sure I could get to school. My classmates and my roommates used to laugh, and they were like, "Juan's mom and dad are driving him to school today," right? While I was in college, and I loved it. He's about to turn 91 next week, and he loved my mom the way we all should be loved, passionately, unselfishly, and unconditionally. And then there's our moms, especially today on Mother's Day. My mom passed away almost 5 years ago in August of 2012. What she went through in her life was unbelievable. I'm thinking about, I was right before she passed away, she was sick. I decided to interview her and just find out more about her life. And she was telling me about when she finished school and then when she went to high school, but the years were off. And I said, "Mom, I think you got the years wrong because you said you finished this year, but then you said you started high school in this year. I think you're missing a year or something." And she said, no, mijo, no, that's not true. That's right. There was a year that I didn't go to school. And I said, "What do you mean you didn't go to school? Were you sick or something?" And she said, no. Your grandparents, who were fantastic, but they didn't believe that a woman should go to high school. So my mom, who was 12, 13 at the time, spent a year convincing her parents that it was okay for her to go to high school. She gets married, and with being married for just a year, her husband, my real dad, they go down to Mexico, and my dad is killed in a car wreck. She'd only been married for a year. She was pregnant with my brother. My brother, who turned out to do great in school, but he was more in sports in high school than as much. So my uncle would joke about it because people would say, "Do you have any brothers, sisters?" And I would say, "I have one brother." And then people would look at me like, "One brother? I thought you said you were Mexican," right? And then my Uncle Rudy would mention, "Oh, no, his dad died when he was a year old. If he had lived, they already had 2 in the first couple of years. They would have had 20 if he would have lived." And they said, and then he would joke about my brother and say, "Yeah, and I think when his mom got thrown from the car, you know, he was pregnant with Gary at the time, and I think he must have hit his head on the thing because he wasn't too good at school. We wasn't too," right? That's your family again. But that's what my mom was. She was a widow at a very early age. She was a single mom bringing us up, and then had to kind of take care of us. But then later got married with my dad, who really was there for us all the time. But she was always there to tell us that I was going to go to college, that we were going to go to college. She was just so proud of us. She always told us that we were just as good as everyone else. Not better, but just as good as everyone else. If she were here today, she would be bragging about us and her boys and me and my brother. If she were here right now and you asked her what time it is, she would tell you, "Oh, yeah, it's this time." But in Cambridge, where my son went to Harvard, right, that's what she would do. And she was the kind of person that was sacrificing for us. And I always tell people, you know, this is fine. We can all have confessions to make. I'm sure there's a lot of you who can say this as well. You can say it with me. I am a mama's boy. And I'm okay with that, right? It's a good thing. And my mom never asked us for things, but when she did, to do things, sometimes it would be crazy hard. At one point, our neighborhood school was about to get closed. by the Archdiocese, Our Lady of Guadalupe Church. It was a big deal. They weren't making enough money. They were going to close it down. And I remember my mom calling me up, and she's like, "Mijo, look." And I know something, because she never asked me for a thing. She says, "Look, there was this huge meeting at the neighborhood and the community, and they're going to shut the school down, and we don't know what to do." But I got up there. I listened to them, but then I got there, and I said, "Don't worry. I'll call my son up, and he'll come save it for us." And my brother and I went back, and over months, and it was one of my proudest moments that we were able to save the school and to see it continue and to thrive. And sometimes it was just crazy. I'm not really a lawyer. I am, but I still pay my Texas bar dues, but I haven't been practicing in a long time. My mom knows that. So right before she passed away, she called me up again and needed something else. She needed legal advice. She knows that I'm not really a lawyer, right? And I'm like, "Mom, what is it?" She says, "Mijo, I need some legal advice." "Sure, Mom." "What legal advice?" She says, "Well, thanks for getting me connected to your friends. They helped me put my will together. I think we've got that all together. So I think we're going to be okay for when I do pass away. Everything's okay. Okay, Mom. So what's your legal question, Mom?" She said, "Well, here's my legal question, Mijo. So I'm curious. I know that when I die, that your dad gets to stay in the house." "Yeah, Mom, Dad gets to stay in the house." "Okay, well, I was just wondering, legally, from a legal perspective, could I put something in there that says your dad can stay in the house as long as he never brings another woman?" Mexican women, even as they're dying, are going to make sure that you... No, it's not going to happen. She sacrificed. Our moms take care of us. They never complained. They always were there for us. You know that from your own families. And I can remember one of my friends, shortly before my mom passed away, had a chance to sit down with my mom. And my friend asked her, like, "Do you miss all the stuff that a lot of your friends have? The clothes, the jewelry, all those fancy pieces?" And I remember she turned to my friend and she said, "You know, my boys spoiled me later once they went to college and got jobs. But you know what? My boys are my gems. And we know when we look at all of you, you all are gems. Your families are so proud of you." And so as I close today, I just wanted you to remember, never forget where you come from. Be proud of all your homes. Don't let others define who you are. Mr. Rohr, take risks, jump. It's not as wide as you think. Ask for help. Learn the rules of the game, the system. Make sure you give back by sharing all you've learned with those who come behind you. And don't ever forget, relationships are everything. Friends, family, dads, and especially moms, they'll always be there for you because they love you, because we love you unconditionally. Congratulations again to all of you, noble Scots. Now go out into the world and create your own stories because it matters. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sepúlveda. For 160 years, Monmouth College has followed the tradition of using Latin to confer the baccalaureate degree. We invite you to follow the English translation printed in the commencement program as we begin the presentation and conferral of degrees for the Monmouth College class of 2017. Will the candidates for the degree Bachelor of Arts please rise? Tibi praesidi collegii Monmouthiensis hos juvenes ud ad gradum artium baccalaureae admintantur offero.
In nomine Dei, Amen. Auctoritate nobis a Republica Illinoisensis e commissa, et consuetudine vedera nos professores collegii Monmouthiensis, vos ad gratum artium baccalaureae admittimus.
This is the 2017 graduating class of Monmouth College. Congratulations. You may now move your tassels from the right to the left. Please be seated. At this time, we invite the graduates to come forward as their names are called to be awarded their diplomas. I ask that the audience hold applause until all students have received their diplomas. Marissa Erica Abston. Mohanad Ahmad. Myrna Alhanash. Hind Alush. Tyler Joseph Altfilish. Dalton E. Anderson. Jessica S. Arroyo. Maylok Atasi. Tarek Awad. Nadia Y. Ayala. Louis Jr. Badang. Louis Fred Badang. Daisy Baisa. Christian David Baginski. Matthew G. Barnes, summa cum laude. Drianne K. Barr. Daniel Charles Bartlett. Kayla Therese Beatles, cum laude. Matthew Adam Bertelson. Blake A. Bixel. Emily LaRue Schreibe-Billen. Brooke Bolt. Amanda C. Bowman. Kyle James Bradbury. Kashana Marie Brantley. Simone Michelle Bridgeforth. Alexander J. Briggs. Kathleen Marie Brown, magna cum laude. Margaret M. Brundage, cum laude. Elizabeth Catherine Bryant, cum laude. Alejandro Daniel Calderon. Madeline Rose Carr. Alyssa Ann Carroll. Ashley M. Castellanos. Luis Angel Castellon. Megan E. Cheever. Elizabeth Marie Chobin. Aubrey Elaine Cook. Christian Richard Corbett. Andrea Correa. Melanie Golingai Costin. Marissa Rose Cox. Ivan A. Cruz. Jasmine Davila, magna cum laude. Trevor DeJanes. Allison Caitlin DePaw. Jeffrey Scott Dank, Jr. Kaylee DeTusa. Andrew Douglas Domkuski. Cole Downey, cum laude. Ryan Edward Draxler, cum laude. Bradley Thomas Dooley, summa cum laude. Alexander Lee Dutko. Morgan Ashley Ellers. Anna Elizabeth Ellison, cum laude. Joseph R. Elmore. Raquel Emeterio. Matthew James Engebretson. Kader Bassem Eskandar. Samantha Elizabeth Estrada, magna cum laude. Lauren Ann Fire-Isel. Caitlin R. Fleury. Victor David Flores Ramirez. Krista Brianne Foyles. Carly N. Folio, summa cum laude. Kelsey Aliena Ford. Jessica Marie Fox, summa cum laude. Jod Freja, cum laude. Hayden Reed Fulfer, cum laude. Dario Anthony Fuller, cum laude. Brianna M. Gardner. Tanner Cassidy Gary. Gabrielle Maxine General, cum laude. Mark Gaith, cum laude. Logan Randall Giggle. Connor James Gillen. Maria Arlene Godina. Bernard D. Godsey. Eva Marie Gonzalez. Jessica Govis, cum laude. Tia Bree Graham. Travis James Gray. Joshua James Green. Mary Claire Griffith. Morgan L. Gully, magna cum laude. John Edward Hanlon, Jr., magna cum laude. Hashim E. Hawk. Austin Lee Hardy, cum laude. Delaney Marie Havens. Margaret Joan Hayes. Kimberly Page Hedspeth, cum laude. Janelle A. Henderson. Anita Therese Ortiz Herrera. Cindy B. Herrera. Krista Lynn Hughes, magna cum laude. Alex Cy Hewitt. Haley Elizabeth Hintz, cum laude. Kalara Kaylin Hawkins. Maritza Yadira Holguin. Peyton Holmes, magna cum laude. Caitlin Lane Hopping. Megan Rose Horak, cum laude. Abby Marie Hubbard. Dayton M. Ince. Jessica Lynn Irons, cum laude. Cody A. Jackson. Nate Andrew Jacobs. Victor James Jacobson. Ellen M. Johnson. Jasmine R. Johnson. Jordan Lee Johnson. Sarah Rose Johnston, summa cum laude. Amanique Jones. Miranda Austin Jones, cum laude. Rodney T. Jordan II. Jordan Nicholas Junker. Kylie A. Kaihara. Nicholas Camberis. Anas Karkut, magna cum laude. Ariana Marie Kelleher, magna cum laude. Erin Elizabeth Kennelly, cum laude. Heather May Kidd. Kaya Louise Kimsey, cum laude. Devin William King, magna cum laude. Colton R. Cook. Luke N. Kreider. Gabrielle Ray Kubiak. Alan H. Kuhlemeyer. Sarah Ann Lang, cum laude. Jeffrey Glenn Larson. Yvonne Eric Lascano. Jaylene Leilani Leal, cum laude. Chelsea Lee. Francis A. Lewandowski. Han Tun Lin. Blake William Little. Kaylee Jordan Lobb, cum laude. Andrea Genevieve Lowe's. Nicholas P. Mines. Nicholas A. Malshodi. Hannah Maria Maloney. Trent William Markland. Autumn Janine Cariana Markley. Niera N. Marshall, cum laude. Morgan Justine Martindale. Jacob Patrick Marks. Rachel Sophia Mash, cum laude. Tanner E. Matlick. John Matthews. Cody J. Mattingly. Shoshana H. McClarence. Mary C. McClary, cum laude. Zachary W. McCoy, cum laude. Michaela Cameron McKinney. Aaron Andrew Mecca. Gianna Maselli. Destiny Marie Mitchell. Tennille D. Mixon. Kayla Marie Moore, magna cum laude. Juan Manuel Mora. Addison J. Morgan. Garrett S. Morganson. Viviana Mota. Samuel Bayer Mata. Rafael Munoz. Alexis Marie Murdix. Trey Michael Murphy. Cassidy Aaron Neely. Ruby Noguran. Trevor Patrick Otting, cum laude. Jacob McMahon Ortiz. Abrefi Ose Kofi, magna cum laude. Kirsten Lee Osga. Barbara Louise Pager, summa cum laude. Yejun Park. Brittany Parker. Tyler Hugh Parksey. Bethany Lynn Sandy Partridge. Lindsay Patton Burkle. Corey Stephen Pearson, cum laude. Lauren E. Pedersoli. Christine Patricia Peterson. Ellen Peterson. Alexa J. Pikarski. Sandra E. Pinetto. Jared Allen Plew. Madeline Jane Poole. Caitlin Michelle Propes. Cole Ryan Pyatt. Trent Edward Rains, cum laude. Michelle Jacqueline Ravel, summa cum laude. Tiffany Marie Reed. Austin Reeder. Savannah R. Reno. Ethan Lee Reschke. Jordan Reed Reschke. Remington Nicole Rexroad. Lynette Yvette Reyes. Derek Michael Reinberg. John Rivera Jr. Maricela Rivera. Sonia G. Rodriguez Ruiz. Kyle David Ross. Carlos Ruiz. Kiera A. Russell. Bailey Marie Sackville. Brenda Saldivar. Ian C. Salveson, cum laude. Perla Sanchez. Andrea Kristen Sandrock, cum laude. John V. D. Sangani. Francesca Marie Savinani. Carolyn M. Sherp. Rebecca R. Schmidt. Sarah Schmidt, magna cum laude. Samantha Smith, magna cum laude. Ashley M. Schrader. Benjamin Allen Schweitzer. Miranda L. Shrike, cum laude. Alexis J. Sirens, cum laude. Jessica May Simmons. Ryan J. Sink. Chase Lee Smith. Jamie T. Smith, cum laude. Kelsey K. Smith. Michael George Smith III. Blake Andrew Songaroth, cum laude. Logan T. Spangler. Ryan W. Sparks. Dayton Dwayne Stanford. Maria Leanne Steck. Nicholas Paul Stevens. Niall Stevens, magna cum laude. Shane Patrick Stone. Dulcie K. Sullivan. Brian Raphael Taylor. Frankie DeLeonor Thomas. Haley Rose Thompson. Kendall Scott Thompson. Sarah Ann Thompson, cum laude. Brock R. Tomes. Morgan Marie Throop. Sarah Elizabeth Tim. Tashia Marie Tinglin. Catherine Rose Tolsky, magna cum laude. Cole Richard Trickle. Yep. Berg Sockbatter, cum laude. Christopher Joseph Torek. Richard Ura. Allie Marie Valance. Riley James Van Velser, magna cum laude. Emma C. Vanderpool, summa cum laude. Curtis James Van Petten. Neriangela Neri Velez, cum laude. Chelsea Patricia Voiles. Kyle R. Wagenbach. Nadine Tatianis Waran. Dustin Robert Watts, cum laude. Molly Joan Weaver. Emily Renee Weir, cum laude. Taylor McClellan Welch. Kelsey M. Wayforth. Antoinette Louise White, cum laude. Haley Michelle White. Mackenzie Lane Whiteside. Chase Carneal Whitaker. Johnny A. Williams III, magna cum laude. Marquise D. Williams. Rowan Grace Williamson. Jessica Nicole Witherell. Rachel Lynn Witzig, summa cum laude. Rebecca Leah Wallenberg, magna cum laude. Claire Louise Woodrow. Tanner Michael Woods. Bonita Jolene Worthington, cum laude. Macy L. Reitzman. Caitlin May Yelm. Timothy Yurs. Yamaleth Lindsay Zamadeo Ongeano. I ask the class of 2017 of the Monmouth College to stand so we can recognize you one more time. Congratulations and thank you. You may be seated. I now welcome Neriangela Neri Velez of the class of 2017 to offer the farewell from the college graduating seniors.
Thank you, Dean Timmerman, and thank you to all of the people who have come here today to support our Monmouth College graduates of 2017. We have our degrees, so college has been great. Many opportunities, many mentors, many friendships, much of which will last after our undergraduate years. However, I feel like that's all people talk about. On Saved by the Bell, Boy Meets World, Gilmore Girls, those shows taught me that college will cost a lot of money, have some really hard professors, a few tests, a few relationship issues, and then graduation. An emotional time, but yet a happy one because you got through it all. The all is what I want to say congratulations about. All. We have all been through a lot. Although classes were hard, and we've had phenomenal mentors, a phenomenal Monmouth College staff, our administration, our friends, our families, they all have helped us through some of these hard times. But sometimes things are still very, very hard. Being in a place that you're not sure you belong, questioning who you are and if that lines up with the person everyone wants you to be. When going to college, we're not taught to deal with the absence of the people who are constantly supporting us. Res Life, we all know how much I love Res Life, so. Res Life did a great job at trying to prepare you, but it doesn't fully kick in until you find your people. For some people, that has been a sports team. For others, a sorority or fraternity, or even your major. You find the people that you bond with, people that remind you that you belong here and that this is the place for you. If you aren't sure if you could or that you should come to college, then I feel you. And I'm reminding you that you belong here. If you felt guilty for leaving home, I feel you, and you belong here. If you were not sure how you're going to pay for college, and you're still questioning how the heck you're going to pay back all of your student loans, I'm telling you today you'll figure it out, and you belong here. If at any point in time you question your identity, be that your orientation, your gender, your culture, or any way that you chose to express yourself, I'm reminding you that you are not alone, and that you belong here. You deserve to be here, you deserve these opportunities, you deserve to study at a liberal arts institution that is striving for change. From the activism and the advocacy, to the allies that we found in people who not only wanted to, but made sure that they were there for us. Thank you for helping us through this journey, and thank you for being there. Nice job on getting through it all. It's a lot of stuff. You all deserve to be here, we deserve to be here together. We deserve the growth, we deserve the knowledge, we deserve the wisdom. College is weird because we get accepted, we need to pick this thing called a major, and that's supposed to make us more credible in a specific field. Then we study different parts about the major, and then again, we're here, and we graduate. This college thing made me realize who I was in a very strange world. None of us really know why we're here. Some of us are graduating and still don't know why we're here. We're given the pictures when we're younger of doctors, police officers, teachers, lawyers, business people, and as a kid, I felt so confined to choose a box. And why? Most people do not do the same job for the rest of their lives anyways. And although having a plan might be nice, sometimes it's just more stressful than it is helpful. College has been a time of inquiry and exploration. Inquiry about who we are and why we are here. There are many times where I question myself as to why I have been at Monmouth for the past 4 years. Sometimes it was hard. I missed my family and I felt alone, and I hardly slept. And although the food was good, it wasn't my mom's. Mom, you have the best food. Other times I felt as though all of my hard work was definitely not going to pay off, so maybe I should just quit while I'm ahead. But instead, we built a coalition. We found allies in each other, and we sought refuge in each other. And I've learned 6 things throughout this very, very short journey. Get a group me, you'll need it. We have many different jobs, we have many different activities that we're a part of, so definitely useful. Get a Snapchat, you'll be very entertained. It's number 2. Number 3, Yik Yak should have never been a thing. Number 4, find your allies. Really hold on to them, you'll definitely need them. Number 5, do the reading, or your professors will know. They always know. Number 6, hold true to yourself, what you believe, even through adversity, because in life we're going to face a lot of adversity. To my friends and my classmates who have struggled in college, you were not alone. To my friends in the LGBTQ+ community, you made it. To my black and brown friends, you all made it. To my friends who mentally struggled throughout college with depression and anxiety or all other mental struggles, you all made it. To my friends who struggled to get those final grades in right before they were due so you can graduate, you made it. We all made it. This degree is merely to affirm the many great things that you will do, even if you're not sure what you'll be doing. And the hardest thing is not knowing what you'll be doing. While being here, we had people to be with us. And after college, some of us may move out of the state, out of the country, go on to grad school, the workforce, or our parents' basement. That's okay too. Either way, it's another step closer to our life's journey. We're often raised on a saying that with hard work, you can do anything. But sometimes you can work so hard and feel like even that is not good enough. Sometimes you need those people. You need each other and those resources and that kind of access to get to where we want or even need to go. Thank you to my squad who came here to support me, to my tío, my titi, my bestie. Thank you for flying in from out of state to show me some love. Thank you to the love of my life, my other whole. Thank you for your love and support. Thank you to my cousin Randy, and to my sisters and my truest squad of them all. Thank you for all being my #1 people. And to my mom, thank you for birthing me and teaching me that discipline, respect, and resilience needed to be here. Thank you for praying the Padre Nuestro with me during the times I needed it. Happy Mother's Day, Mom, and happy Mother's Day to all the mothers in the room, as well as the influential women who are always there for all of your people. As B.B. King once said, the best thing about learning is that no one can take it away from you. My friends, remember that, cherish that, and take that along with you throughout your journey. Thank you, and happy graduation, class of 2017.
Well, it says on the program that the song Forever Young would be performed by one of our very talented students, Jamar Jones. Those of you know Jamar, he'd been fighting a bug of some kind the last few days and went home last night. So we will have to settle for a recording of the song, but the recording will be sung by a Nobel laureate, so I think we'll be okay. I'd like to ask the graduates to close your eyes for just a moment. As we think back across your years at Monmouth College, think back to your first day on campus. Think about the best of your many best days. Think about that hardest day and how you made it through. Think about those people who are your friends for life. Think about that person you had to work hardest to like. Think about your toughest defeat. Think about your greatest triumph. Think about those people who had the greatest impact on you. Think about those people whose lives you have made a little better. Be sure to come back to campus. Come back often. For no matter where you go, this will always be home. We're all proud of you. We all love you. From Lobie and me, we wish that you will keep the spirit of these days forever, that you will be forever young.
Now, as you leave these halls of academia and venture out into the world, go as an instrument of peace. Where there is hatred, sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Do not seek so much to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that you will receive, it is in pardoning that you will be pardoned, and it is in dying that you will be born to eternal life. And now may God bless you and keep you. May God be kind and gracious to you. May God look upon you with favor and bring you all peace. Amen.